Now, I would love to have a MacBook Pro right in front of me, but that's not going to happen. And I wonder how that could ever be. Now, recently I was able to use the new MacBook Pro, the 15-inch and the 13-inch. And what I saw in them was something that I haven't seen in Apple for a long time. Now, I've criticized Apple a lot, specifically the iPhone, because I feel as though they've not innovated at all. But the difference is, the Mac has always been, for me, something that is truly unique to Apple. Even though you can definitely get a better deal on a product with Windows, the Mac, there's something about it that makes it more simple, it's more user intuitive, and overall it's a very pleasant experience. But you do pay a premium. So how does the new MacBook Pro scale against previous MacBooks? Now, if we start with the design on the new MacBook Pro is absolutely beautiful. Bar none, the most beautiful laptop on the market right now. It is extremely thin and light, and although you may or may not use the touch bar, or you may think it's unnecessary to have on the device, it is still beautiful. The way that Apple is able to, well, I mean, use this for example. I can open the MacBook Pro 15-inch with one finger, and the laptop opens by itself. You don't have to sort of pry the laptop open, and it's absolutely beautiful. Now, there are two different configurations. There are the touch bar models and the non-touch bar models. The non-touch bar models are, again, less expensive, but they only include 2 USB-C ports. They only include 2 USB-C ports. Their counterpart, the ones with the touch bar, they have 4. Now, it's kind of interesting, because when I was there, I was able to plug in the charger for the MacBook Pro into my Android phone. But I wouldn't be able to do that on an iPhone. It's kind of odd. You know, it makes you wonder also the direction that Apple is taking with the iPhone 8. And I am actually very interested to see where they go with that. Now, if we're talking about performance, because obviously if you're buying a MacBook Pro, that's the most important part. If you're specifically pinpointing your buying decision on specs, then I don't think Macs are for you. I mean, it's been like this for a very long time, for years now, that you can get more for your money, higher performance value on a PC than you ever can with a Mac when you have the same configuration and when you're talking about prices. But, you know, I was able to take the base model MacBook Pro and I opened up at the Apple Store the Final Cut Pro project that they have. And this project was 4K at 24 frames per second, and I was able to skim through it. I was able to play back with no hiccups whatsoever. You know, and this is with the base model. And, you know, when you compare the MacBook Pro to its biggest competitor, which is probably the Dell XPS 13 on the Windows side and the new Surface laptop, you know, after being able to try both, I don't think the MacBook Pro is, I think you get a lot actually for your money. Now, I understand it's an in-store demo and, you know, real-world performance out of the store is going to vary quite a bit. But I was very impressed with what Microsoft or what Apple was able to do. You know, Microsoft has sort of been playing catch-up, and I've spoken on this before, that Apple is starting to hit a partition in their technological development, and this new MacBook Pro really was able to capture so much, I feel, as though Apple was when Steve Jobs was still alive. Now, you may disagree with the port situation, on the MacBook Pro. But actually, even though I harshly criticize Apple for many of their decisions, I actually think their decision to go with USB-C was extremely important, not only for Apple, but I think the industry as a whole. I am very glad Apple only put USB-C, because at some point the industry sort of has to move forward. And Apple, I mean, this has been the case for the past 15 years. Apple really does push the industry in a certain direction. And I think by allowing, or by essentially forcing people to switch to USB-C, I do not think that in the long term that it'll be negative. I really think it is a positive thing. Now, do I think, from my brief experience with the MacBook Pro, the new ones, do I think it is worth it? I'm going to actually say yes. I actually do. I mean, I was so impressed with the complete package of it that if you're trying to buy a laptop in that $1,300 to $1,500 range, I think you cannot go wrong with this new MacBook Pro. You may or may not want the touch bar, but when you compare it to the Surface laptop, and remember, the Surface laptop is absolutely beautiful for what it is, but Apple still has that little extra bit that makes it just so much more special. And I will say that it is absolutely worth it to get the new MacBook Pro.